Alrighty, guys. Good evening. I'm Ryan, alongside Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritzma,
Hello, everybody.
Michigan Storm Chasers here. Welcome to today's stream. We're going to talk about quite a bit in this stream, so feel free to tune in. We'll be live here for a few minutes tonight. Focus in on the midweek system, but we also have the overall week to go ahead and just kind of talk about what's coming up this week, whatnot. So let's go ahead and dive into this forecast package. Starting with the title screen, obviously, today's date, February 3rd. Current time is 8:01 p.m. Let's go ahead and dive in. So expectations this week, we have 5. Return to a more seasonal conditions. Numerous impactful systems are on the horizon. Focusing on this stream is going to be midweek time frame. Number 4, secondary concern for a weekend system is rising. We'll talk about that briefly. Then number 5, a mid to late month cool down is incoming. Let's go ahead and start with our weekly temperatures here, and based out of the Lansing area. We're seeing today as our warmest day. We got close to 50, if not touching 50, close to the Indiana-Ohio borders. But further north, we're likely in the 40s today, but then that's going to drop off for the next couple of days here, next several days, really. We're in the either low 30s or upper 20s for the majority of the next several days here. No real big warm-ups, no real big cool-downs, but again, a mid to late month cool-down could be coming, and the model is kind of depicting that. If you look on the very far right of this graph here, 17, 10, and 7 is your high temperature forecasted in Lansing for the 16th, 17th, and 18th of February. So we're going to keep an eye on that. We'll talk about that briefly here in the coming minutes. I know a lot of you guys are watching this for that midweek system update. Let's go ahead and dive into that. So currently we are in the day 3 time frame here, day 2, day 3 time frame, and we're finalizing our details with our forecast. And also why we can't really get specific with that weekend forecast as well, because we're that 4 to 6 day out. We're just kind of watching trends at this point, but now we're getting close to that midweek system. We can start finalizing those details. So let's go ahead and talk about that system. All right. In terms of timing and impacts here, we have a graph or a chart here made for you guys to help kind of prepare and plan around the arrival and the exit of this system. So 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoon and 7 p.m. Wednesday evening here, we should be clear. The rush hour for the Wednesday evening should be a fairly clear shot across the state. When we get closer to 10 p.m. or so, we're going to start seeing that precip chance rise across pretty much all of Michigan, but it does start in the western parts of the state first. You can see the snow is overspread there in the UP, and then that ice sleet mix there starting to work in toward the southwest Michigan area. As that moves later on in the evening, as we get toward midnight into Thursday morning, we're seeing that system completely overtake the state. By 4 a.m., that continues to work its way eastward. 7 a.m., it continues to work eastward. And by roughly around noon or so, that system does exit the area, and it leaves us with a more windy and a little bit warmer conditions for our Thursday afternoon. So that is your expected time frame and evolution of this system here. Let's go ahead and dive into the expectations. So first and foremost, what are the models showing for snow and ice? So starting with the Canadian model, I do like the Canadian model for this system more than I do the European and GFS. The Canadian is showing a general snow depiction of 2 to 6 inches, roughly around that UP northern lower portion of Michigan here. And then further south there toward Mount Pleasant, it's going to start mixing in a little bit more with sleet, perhaps some freezing rain as well. So lower confidence in accumulations further south, higher confidence in accumulations further north. The further north you go, especially in the UP, should be all snow. Further south you go, could be a mix. Now, when comparing all systems or all models with the system for our ice, I guess the ice here is what people are really concerned about, what we're kind of concerned about too. I'll go ahead and say it up front. We don't think it's going to be an ice storm, although we could come close to the criteria in localized areas. So looking at the 3 major models we use, the European, the GEM, also known as the Canadian, the GEM is just a shorter abbreviation for it, and the GFS model. This is your accumulation across South Michigan here. And if you've noticed with the forecast from yesterday to today, the ice has shifted, the freezing rain, should I say, has shifted further south toward the 94 or general areas of 94 and points southward. If you look at the model here, the European and GEM model are pretty much aligned in terms of the high-end totals of around 3/10 of an inch. But again, these are sometimes overdone, which likely is the case with these models here as well. So we knocked down roughly about 1/10 of an inch or so for realistic expectations with these models. So I do think we're going to end up with something that looks similar to this. This is the European, what we call the FRAM, the freezing rain accumulation. It's basically taking a lot of things into consideration and spitting out a realistic expectation with our ice accretion. And I do think it's fairly accurate depiction of what we're kind of expecting. It kind of matches our forecast because it's in our forecast posted on the page. It looks pretty similar. So around 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch would be the heaviest ice across the 94 corridor or areas further south. Now, what that's going to mean in terms of impacts is travel statewide is going to be impacted here, no matter if you're up in the UP, up in Mount Pleasant, Alpena, Traverse City. It's going to be snow, it's going to be sleet, or it's going to be freezing rain. So impacts to travel are going to be the main expectation with this. For ice storm criteria, you need to have right around 1/4 inch or 0.25 or higher. We are seeing a localized area that may come close to that, and that is in the Irish Hills area of Hillsdale, Western Lenawee, Eastern Jackson, Western Washtenaw, and Southern Livingston counties. On the European model here, you're going to see a little bit darker area stretching in toward the Branch County, Hillsdale, Western Lenawee. That model may be trying to hint at that, but that's the general area we're kind of keeping an eye on for potential impacts close to ice storm criteria. I just we're going to get there and get impacts with this system. So overall impact should be limited to travel. I don't want to rule out power outages just yet, but again, I'd like to see more confidence in a little bit higher of these ice accretion totals, which right now we don't have. So with that being said, your main concern with this system is going to be travel impacts. We're going to watch in terms of tree and power outage impacts closely. I just don't think it's going to get to that point. We have to use that kind of wording. All right. The good thing with this system, though, is if we do end up getting a little more of a bigger storm than expected, the good news is in the morning and afternoon hours of Thursday, temperatures will rise in above freezing, likely reaching the 40s in spots. So any ice that does accrete on surfaces or trees or power lines, it will melt very quickly Wednesday, or should I say Thursday morning or afternoon. And that is a good thing it does as well, because in the afternoon hours of Thursday, our winds do pick up across the state, gusting between 30 and 40 miles per hour. So if we still have ice lingering on trees and power lines and such, with that wind kicking up, it could be a bad situation. But luckily, at this point in time, we do think it's going to melt, and we shouldn't be too concerned for any ice plus wind impacts here in Michigan. So just want to mention that winds will pick up. I do think the ice will be out of here and melted by the afternoon on Thursday, though. In terms of our forecast, we do have 3 of them posted here: snow, ice, and timing maps. First, starting with the first call snowfall for Wednesday night into Thursday morning, 2 to 4 inches for the UP. Not going to be a whopper of a storm. 1 to 3 for northern lower, and then trace to an inch further south there. And again, the further south you go, the more in the way of mix you're going to expect there. Now, in terms of the ice accretion, here's our first call on those totals here. We're going anywhere from 1/10 to 1/4 inch across the 94 corridor there. We'll adjust if need be with tomorrow's forecast package, but further north there toward Grand Rapids, Ovid, Flint, Lansing, Port Huron, likely going to be, between 0.05 of an inch to 1/10 of an inch. And again, that's all it takes, though, for impacts to travel to be quite significant. So just think of basically a good layer of ice starting with that 0.05 area. So that's our concern there. Further north, just could be a trace of freezing rain mixing in there, as well as sleet and possible snow as well. In terms of the timing map for this system, that's also posted on our page. I'll show it to you guys here. 9:30 to 11 p.m. should be the expected arrival time, or around those time frames, for our first precip. It could be snow up in the UP. Could be a mix of sleet and freezing rain further south there. That'll move eastward, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the yellow zone, green zone 1 to 5 a.m., and the blue zone 4 a.m. or later. So a summary: primarily snow north of Mount Pleasant. Sleet will be likely somewhere south of Mount Pleasant. Now, again, the sleet will mix in between the snow and the freezing rain, between those two. Think like a sandwich, really. The snow will be the bread on top. The sleet will be the cheese in the middle. And then that freezing rain will be the meat on the bottom. Somewhere between that sandwich is going to be sleet. Freezing rain is likely near and south at 94. The highest ice accretion will be along 94, but especially near the Irish Hills area. We're going to watch that area the closest. Impact to travel will be statewide, no matter if it's ice, sleet, or snow. And again, higher ice totals dependent on something I didn't mention here. I'll mention very quickly here. Thursday morning, we could see what we call a dry slot develop. And that dry slot could also aid in lesser totals in terms of our ice and sleet impacts. So we're going to watch that very closely. A dry slot, all that really is just really a break in precipitation in a system. So the system works its way through. It should all be solid precip sometimes, or usually that's the case. Well, sometimes we have these dry slots where precip fails to fall because of too much dry air. That may limit some totals as well. We're going to watch that very closely. But again, higher ice totals dependent on dry slot formation. That is also a good point to make here. I missed that. Temps will rise Thursday morning. Winds will pick up Thursday afternoon. Shifts and changes are still possible in the track and the outcome of the system. We'll have a full forecast update and probably go live again tomorrow evening for an update if anything still looks to be impactful, which I do believe it will be for the state. So we'll probably go live again tomorrow around 7 or 8 o'clock for an update as well. How you can prepare, even though we're not really calling for a major ice storm, there are a few things you can do to help yourself stay safe. Feel free to screenshot the graphic here. So obviously we're not expecting outages, or at least many outages of the system. So I don't think you need to prepare for those per se, but it's on there just because it's an ice storm preparation sheet that we made. So other things you can do, make sure you have first aid essentials and litter for traction if you're out and about on the roadways. Watch out for falling branches due to ice accretion. The weight of the ice on power lines as well may cause those tree branches or lines to break. And if you're standing underneath them, not a good situation there. Any avalanches of roof avalanches in areas of snowpack, that could be snow that just kind of falls off the roof there. Make sure if you're walking nearby. Obviously, I don't think many places in Michigan have much snow on the roofs, but just, again, safety precautions here. Monitor for weather sources for changing conditions. Avoid stairs and elevated surfaces. And again, with this ice coming in and sleet, it's likely going to be, everything's going to be a glaze or very slick. So just be careful on stairs, sidewalks, roads, etc. Avoid unnecessary travel and make sure you're bundling up. That is your forecast for the midweek system. Updates will follow on our page and also here on YouTube. Now, going into the long-term future here, we are tracking another system separate from the midweek for the weekend, in particular, Saturday into Sunday morning. A very similar picture being painted by all major models, the Euro, the GFS, and the Canadian, all showing a split system here with snow on the north side, a mix of sleet and freezing rain in the middle, and then rain on the very bottom of that system. Where it's going to shift and track is still unknown. Again, going back to that graphic I showed you guys to start, we're still around that 4 to 6 day out time frame. So just kind of watching trends, getting an idea of what's possible, but exact forecast, timing, locations, amounts, impacts, not sure just yet. But do pay attention. A similar system is looking likely somewhere in the region, possibly Michigan, for that Saturday and Sunday timeframe. All right. With that being said, that is all I have to share with you guys in terms of this week. I do have some long-term graphics here. If you guys want me to jump into that, I can. Otherwise, we'll take some questions. So let me know in chat here. I see a couple new members here. Joel, do you want to shout those out?
Yeah, first of all, we got a super chat from Pacify ASMR saying thank you so much, guys. No problem. As always, thank you for being one of our longtime donors here. We also have 10 gifted memberships, courtesy of one of our also longtime donors, Red Dozier. Thank you very much, and congratulations to those who have been gifted memberships here on YouTube. And Ashley C, back again here as a member at MSC on YouTube. So thank you guys so very much for your contributions to Michigan Storm Chasers here on YouTube.
All right. I see a couple. First off, thank you. I didn't want to go without saying that. So thank you to all those who just became members and gifted memberships. I see questions. I see a couple people saying long-term. So let's go ahead and go to long-term here. I'll keep it shorter. Let's go ahead and dive in real quickly here. So the long-term, in terms of the mid to late month time frame, if you guys caught our first video that came out January 27th or so, it was our February outlook video. We mentioned that the end of February may be a little bit below average, but weren't really expecting too much below average. That's kind of changed with our latest thinking. Models are really picking up on some Arctic air moving in once again around the 17th of February. We're going to watch that time frame closely. We could be back into some Arctic air for the last 10 days of the month. Overall confidence is increasing in that. as well as systems nonstop between now and then. So every couple of days, expect another system, whether it's a clipper or a system or called Colorado Low. We're going to have so many systems working through between now and mid-month. It's going to be very busy. We'll put it that way. In terms of snow or rain or freezing rain, I think it's all really possible, but at this point, it's just going to be hard to predict it. CPC guidance here, below average temperatures between February 11th and 17th. Then precipitation will be near normal or leaning above average for portions of the state. What is average, though, for the month of February? Go ahead and touch on this really quickly. Average temperatures across the state, mid-30s, further south in Adrian or Kalamazoo. Further north toward like Traverse City, Alpena areas, around 30. UP is around 27 degrees around the UP. So overall, we're kind of keeping an eye on things in the future here. I thought I had a graphic loaded in for like the future, like temperature anomaly, stuff like that. I don't. So I apologize for that. But overall, the communication between now and the end of the month is going to be a late month cool down for at least, we're going to say 10 days or so, starting around the 17th of the month or so. So do expect some Arctic air to fill back in. And yes, snow chances do look possible during that time frame. So we'll keep track of that, and we'll keep you guys updated with it.
Yeah, the atmospheric river is in effect.
Yeah.
Big old jet stream.
All right. We got about 400 of you guys here in chat. So if you guys got questions, feel free to drop them in. We're probably not going to get to all of them, but we'll try to get to most. So we got a couple of donations here. Thank you, Megan, for that $2 super chat. Also got Red Dozer again with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Red, for your longtime support here at MSC. Thank you guys very much. What are the ice accumulations for Bellevue? It looks like we are right on the line for 10th to 2/10. So pulling up the forecast for you, I'm going to say Bellevue is going to be roughly around that line of about a 10th or so. I'd expect about a 10th would be a good medium point for you. Perhaps a little bit higher, but I do think a 10th would be a good starting point. Could GR area get more snow on Wednesday into Thursday? Not really. The snowpack looks to be further north. Doesn't really come close to Grand Rapids unless we see a very last minute significant shift south, which I wouldn't rule it out, but it's unlikely at this point. So no, I'd say Grand Rapids, you're just gonna get maybe a snow showers or a trace at most. Also want to mention as well, for those of you out and about on the roads tonight, I see some statements have been issued from our NWS offices for slick travel. So do be prepared tonight for some slick roadways out there, especially across central Michigan, Grand Rapids over to Port Huron area. We could see some slick roadways out there this evening. So do be cautious of that if you're out and about on the roads.
Yeah, we did have a couple of places see over a half a foot of snow today up there north of Cadillac and West Branch. We actually had a 9-inch report, I think, from the Lewiston area, which is just to the southeast of Gaylord, and we also had a couple 8-inch reports from Kalkaska there. You can see that in your map.
Yep. So as Joel said, Lewiston 9 inches. We got Traverse City area, Rapid City to be exact, 8 inches. Fife Lake 8 inches. Sigma 8 inches. Lincoln, Michigan 8 inches, and Mayo, Michigan 8 inches. So pretty significant snowfall. Definitely exceeded our forecast of, I think it was like what, 3 to 6.
Yeah.
3 to 6. Kind of overachieved there. What about Belleville when it comes to ice accumulation? I'd say between a 10th and 2/10 is a general idea across the south part of Michigan, Belleville included. I don't think it's going to be much higher than that. So we should be good in terms of impacts to power and trees. If that changes between now and tomorrow, or should I say now and Wednesday, we'll let you guys know. But right now, we're not thinking that. I see a lot of questions here for ice in terms of locations. So I'll pop it up on the screen again. It is also posted on our Facebook page with a full forecast. So the highest accumulation should be along and just south of 94 there from roughly Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, Jackson, Ann Arbor, Detroit. And then also a bit further north, potentially because of the Irish Hills area there in southern Livingston and Oakland counties. Higher elevations, easier ice accretion is likely in those areas. So about 1/10 to 2/10 with as much as a 1/4 inch, 0.25 there in the dark pink zone. Further north, Grand Rapids, Lansing, Flint, Port Huron, anywhere from a 5/100 of an inch to about a 1/10 of an inch is going to be your expectation. Then further north should just be a trace to a glaze at most.
The question,
Jessica, I'd say Eastern Branch County would be in the area of not really concern, but area to watch for higher accumulation. So Eastern Branch, just because it's closer to the higher elevations.
Yes, this is west. This is Wednesday into Thursday. Also, a question in here about seeing the snow map again, real quick, especially for the UP.
Yep. So nothing huge with this system. 2 to 4 is the expectation. That could rise here depending on the latest models that come in tonight and tomorrow morning. But right now, general accumulations of 2 to 4 for the most of the UP, then 1 to 3 for all their areas, and then trace to an inch further south. All these forecasts are posted on one post on our Facebook page. Good question there, asking if schools could close. And I do think there's potential for school closings just because of the travel impacts from this system. Further north, where the snow is going to be mainly snow, I wouldn't expect there to be much in the way of any closings. But for areas that get ice and sleet, which is generally south of Grand Rapids, Lansing, Flint, Port Huron, those areas, I would think there could be some closings come Thursday morning. Larry asks, since there has been a shift south, do you think it may shift again in the later runs? Larry, shifting is likely with these winter systems leading up to Wednesday. So yes, shifting is expected. I wouldn't say anything major is expected, but yes, it could still very well shift north or south. Chris, we're not really thinking that outages are going to be an issue. And if they are going to be an issue, they're probably going to be centered over localized areas with higher elevations. And that would be like Irish Hills. So like Hillsdale, Lenawee, Western Washtenaw, Eastern Jackson, and Southern Livingston. In terms of ice storm watches and warnings, it's unlikely we're going to get those because most of the criteria at Michigan is a 1/4 inch or greater. And confidence that we're going to get to the 1/4 inch or greater is quite low at this time. I think a lot of us are going to be between that 1/10 and 2/10. So overall, no, I wouldn't expect ice storm warnings or watches to be issued, but I would expect there to be winter weather advisories for the ice and sleet potential through the Wednesday evening, Thursday morning timeframe. So at very least, advisories. Cindy with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Cindy, for that. She says, thank you. And as always, Cindy, appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Oops. Chat's flying here. Do you anticipate that travel will be improved for Thursday afternoon? I would, Kate, just because the temperatures will rise above freezing, which should melt the sleet and ice. Further north, I'd expect to be a little bit lingering impacts because temperatures don't really rise above freezing up there with snow's falling. But in terms of downstate where the sleet and ice is, yes, the conditions should improve drastically Thursday afternoon. Do you have any idea if the weekend system will be stronger than this one? So in terms of snowfall, it's looking like it will be stronger for the northern part of Michigan at this current moment. Again, shifting could happen. In terms of ice, we're not going to get into that just because it's so fragile, the forecast being this far away. I'm not going to get in specific with the weekend system in terms of ice, but it does look at least like snow will be a little bit more than this system. Yeah, Drew has a good point here in chat. If you don't have to travel Thursday morning, I would probably advise not to. in these sleet and ice areas, just because it's going to be a glaze of ice, no matter if you get a tenth or 500ths of an inch or 2/10, it's going to be slick. So if you can avoid traveling on Thursday morning until the temperatures rise, I would definitely do that. Richard, thank you for becoming a YouTube member here at MSC. Appreciate your support and welcome to the team.
Thank you, Richard. One thing that we might have forgotten, Brian, is that there will be also lake effect snow tomorrow for people who do live in the UP. It'll be a quick trace to perhaps 3 inches in spots, mainly in the eastern portions of the UP, so Alger, Luce counties, same places as usual, and perhaps portions of the slopes in the Porcupine Mountain region. So, but it'll be a quick hitting, light flurry sort of lake effect snow, especially with the lake water starting to get cooler this time of the year.
And I can share my screen real quick here to kind of display that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a model. We have a forecast post on the page. I don't have the graphic, unfortunately, but the overall model here, as Joel just mentioned, areas in the UP, 2 to 3 inches at most, really. And that is for Tuesday.
Kendall here with a $9.99 super chat. I live in Oxford. Am I expecting freezing rain right now? And the answer is it's probably going to be the most likely outcome as of right now. But again, we still have shifts that are possible.
Yeah, and if not for freezing rain, definitely a sleet mix for you there. So I would expect a mixed bag, really. Although significant impacts, I'd probably lean against in terms of ice. And by significant, I mean like power outages and tree damage, stuff like that. Ann Arbor tends to accumulate more ice. Yes, that is true. And that is also due to the higher elevation there. Colder temperatures, really. Easier to accrete ice. School tomorrow? You'll be fine for tomorrow. Mm-hmm. This is going to be for Wednesday evening into Thursday morning. So if school's going to be delayed from the system, it's going to be centered Thursday morning. Yeah, Stephanie, there is black ice out there now. Local offices from NWS have issued statements about that. Probably put a post on the page about it, honestly. But yeah, slick travel is out there in localized areas. So do be cautious if you're heading out on the roads tonight. Is anybody having issues finding our stream on Facebook by chance? Just out of curiosity. Thank you, Skylar, for the $5 super chat. Love the documentary. Very well done. Hope to see more. Perhaps a positive one. An Aurora documentary, perhaps. We'll think about it, Tyler or Skylar. Appreciate that. And thank you. For those that do not know what that's about, we do have a documentary for May 7th of last year. We had the Portage tornado as well as the Cole and Sherwood tornado. We did a 1 and 5 minute long recap documentary style. It is posted on our YouTube page. Would highly suggest checking it out. It's a lot of perspectives on that day.
Yeah, I noticed that, Ryan.
On Facebook?
Yeah, that didn't come with a post.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It says we're live, but it didn't pop up a new post that says we're actually live. So that's crazy. So a question about how our thoughts on spring are looking in terms of severe weather, I assume. I think it's just a tad bit too early to call for sure. But overall, we're getting a better picture being shaped currently. I'm going to wait probably a week or two before I give final thoughts, but it's interesting to say the least. Can it not be freezing rain until I get to work Thursday morning? We can try, Heather. We can definitely try. Unfortunately, though, most of the system moves in overnight Wednesday into Thursday morning. So by the time I wake up 5, 6 a.m., it'll be in the full swing of things. So that's unfortunate. Joel, was there a siren in the background? People are asking who's getting arrested.
Yeah, there was. Here in Mount Pleasant, that happens every once in a while.
Is Phil the groundhog a fraud? So this year, for Michigan at least, I think he's right. We're going to get at least 3 or 4 more weeks of winter. Maybe not 6, but at least 3 or 4. We're not done with winter by any means. And I think there's still hope for Southeast Michigan snow lovers. I don't want to keep saying it, but I do think there's still hope that us down here in the snow hole of Michigan are going to get something by the end of the season, should I say. Any other questions, guys? Well, I do have a package to open from our wish list that randomly came today. So we can open that real quick if you guys want to. It's a pretty small package. This is our Monday night stream. We do these weekly. So if you're new here, Mondays at usually 7 o'clock is when we go over the week ahead. But because we have this system we're focused in on, we want to focus more of our time toward that system. So if you guys got questions outside of the system for Wednesday, Thursday, feel free to drop it in chat. Billy asks, is this a major ice storm at all? Not expecting that, Billy. Not at all. For major impacts, we're going to have to get over a 1/4 inch, closer to 3/10 or 4/10 or higher than that, and we're not seeing much, if any, guidance that suggests that is going to be possible. So the overall answer is no, not going to be major. But any ice is going to be impactful to, at the very least, travel. So
I see there's a comment in here about traffic maps. I would say probably the earliest you'll see a traffic map is going to be Wednesday night before the event starts, or Wednesday afternoon, I would have to say, because again, the most travel concerns will be for the morning into the afternoon on Thursday before things dry up.
all right. So I have a package here. It's a pretty. I'm not going to show it just because it has my address on it, but I will go ahead and rip this open here real quick.
No problem, Summer.
All right. Package. We do have an Amazon wish list that you guys can buy us stuff on Amazon. It was requested last year by a lot of you guys. It wasn't really our idea. It was your idea. So it's there. If a moderator can drop that link in chat. This is from Taylor. And it says, thank you for all the amazing work you guys do. You guys are amazing, from Taylor C. Thank you, Taylor. And it is a Amazon gift card. I'm not going to show the code. Amazon gift card. So thank you for that, Taylor. Appreciate your support. Also, I did have another package that came back in like the start of January or the end of December. It was sitting in my room waiting for an unboxing, and my kid got into it. That was from Jacqueline, and that had, I believe, a gift card in it, as well as a couple of our stream snacks that we have on the wish list. So, Jacqueline, if you're watching, I do apologize, but unfortunately, I can't unbox that. But we did get your package.
The cat unboxed it for you?
The kids did.
Oh, the kids. Gotcha.
Kids did. Yeah, don't blame Pippi. Love it. How do you send these gift boxes? We do have an Amazon wish list, Megan. If one of the moderators could drop the link here in chat, that would be amazing. So go on Amazon. So how I assume it works, or how I'm told it works, is you add something on the list to the cart you want to buy. And then if you want to buy custom stuff for us, you add that to your cart as well, and then remove the original item that you added, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if it'll let you just buy anything without adding something to your cart first. Does it look like major negative wind chills coming up next week? -40. I don't think so, Griff. I do see signs the average temperature could be about 10 to 15 degrees below average. But going back to the average temperature this time of year, if you really start looking at the details of that, I'm only seeing signs of maybe teens for high temperatures throughout that period. And here's the graphic for average temperatures for February. So just -10 or 15 degrees off these, and that's going to be your typical temperatures. So anywhere from, I'm going to say 10 to 25 degrees really is what the expectation would be.
What might happen if there's no dry slot? Would that mean more freezing rain? Well, technically, it would mean more precipitation for sure. However, it depends on where the low tracks and where that warm front can go in terms of advecting as far north as possible for that freezing rain to develop. That 32-degree line would pretty much form right on that front. And so it's really going to vary pretty much by 100 miles, give or take, north or south here within the next 2 days. So that's why we're still monitoring it closely for any last-second shifts here. But the map we put out here earlier in the briefing is our thoughts so far for this event. But yeah, if you want less of a dry slot equals more precipitation. It just depends on, again, where that warm sector makes it as far north. What if we don't want it at all? Find a way to create copious amounts of dry air in the atmosphere. It's impossible though.
Well, any other questions here, guys?
I believe the low track right now is right through central Indiana and central Ohio, so it's a little bit further south. When I checked the surface analysis projections earlier this morning, but that warm front doesn't have to be exactly straight east of it, if that makes any sense. To be I don't even know what I'm saying at this point, but I guess you could say that the front could shift so it's further north in the actual low center itself. Not too much in the way of snow tonight. Again, lake effect snow will ramp up a little bit tomorrow, mainly for the Upper Peninsula and perhaps around the Traverse City area where an inch or less is expected. And then again, the UP, as we mentioned, anywhere from like 1 to 3 inches is going to be the going rate. The Porcupine Mountains and the Alger and Luce County higher slopes. Kendall here with another $9.99 super chat saying, could the ice to go up once the storm hits and couldn't move further north? Well, I'm not sure how to exactly answer that, but I will say right now that there could be shifts further north. Again, as the day goes on, it should get colder. So it's going to fluctuate a little bit depending on the time of the day, I guess you could say. And thank you, Kendall, for that super chat there. My roommate or my neighbor's being.
Skylar asked a question here for ice levels on Lake Michigan. I don't have Lake Michigan exactly, but I was prepared for ice on the lakes. I have graphics loaded for those. For example, Lake Michigan here, you have some ice building there across the southwest part of the state. Also further north, got some moderate ice there trying to form. For the most part, though, Lake Michigan remains ice-free there in the center. Lake Erie is pretty much iced over at this point, just because it's more shallow, easier to freeze. Overall, the lake waters of Superior and Michigan and Huron do remain quite open. As far as where we're at in coverage, 31% is where we're at, and that red line is average. That black line is where we're at currently. So we're very close to average now, but still below. So it just kind of goes to show you where we're at currently. So 31%. When is a major precip event expected next? Freedom, the answer to that is going to be Saturday. And the overall consensus is a system will move through. The overall details are still unclear. All I can show you is this graphic here, which kind of shows you the general thinking between the models currently. And again, this could shift north or south. It's not a forecast. It just goes to show you the models are kind of hinting at something moving in. And I think the system will be more so impactful for snowfall. I'm not sure in terms of ice or rain and or sleet. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see how it trends. But right now, it does look like it's going to be a little bit more in the way of a snowmaker for areas that do receive snow from the system. Well, happy birthday. See a comment in here says Joel and Ryan, my 21st birthday is on Saturday.
Nice. Yeah, also no caps, no all caps. That's one of our chat rules. This storm kind of formed on the atmospheric river, actually, but it gets all its moisture from the Gulf. If you guys are wondering about maps, you have any ideas or want to see the maps again, they are posted on our Facebook page, Michigan Storm Chasers. It is the verified page. If there's any other ones out there, that's not us. So go check that out. They are posted there. You can also check it out on our Instagram page, our X page as well. Cross-posted everywhere. So obviously, if you want, you can go back and check out the maps at the beginning of the streams. Or again, if you guys have any last questions here, we can pull them up if they're requested again. It is most likely that we will probably get at least some sort of winter weather advisory out of it. Probably not an ice storm warning, though, unless something really changes.
All right. Any last questions here before we wrap this up? For those of you watching who may want to follow us on other platforms, we do have quite a few. We're going to be doing our streams now in the future here on Twitch. Not yet, but close. We're also now on Blue Sky, for those who prefer the Blue Sky platform over Twitter. We're also on Instagram, Threads. Wow, I said Instagram twice. Instagram, Threads, X, Blue Sky, TikTok. We have quite a bit. What part of Ohio, Summer? How high are the winds going to be on Thursday? 30 to 35 miles per hour. Further north, north of Grand Rapids looks to be the gustiest. Up through the northern part of Michigan, like Gaylord area, I'd say 35 miles per hour. So maybe 40 if we're pushing things. So Summer, I'd say further north, like toward, if you know geography in Ohio, the very far northwest part and north part through like Cleveland and man, my Ohio geography is lacking here. Basically, the north half of Ohio could get some ice, just like we are going to get here in South Michigan. Yeah, move it down there. So Ashtabula, that's what I'm talking about. Like Cleveland, Ashtabula, down toward Akron, over toward Findlay, Ottawa, and points northward. Could get some ice out of that. But further south, it should be a mainly rain event for Ohio. And again, thunderstorms are possible down there as well. So Where's the best ice accumulation for this Wednesday into Thursday morning system? 94 corridor would be their best bet. I'll throw the map up here one more time before we hop out of here. So here's your ice accretion forecast from us. If I can find it, there it is. Again, 10s to 2/10 is going to be the going rate here. Isolated up to a 1/4 inch would be expected along 94 there. And further north, it just kind of tapers off into a more sleet, freezing rain, perhaps some snow very far north toward like Cadillac, West Branch, Mount Pleasant areas. Could get some snow mixing up there, but mostly sleet, freezing rain mix for that center zone. And then further south, the highest accumulation of ice. Hope that answers your question there, Billy. All right. With that being said, Joel, you got anything else you want to share before we wrap this up?
I think we're all set here, actually. Usually I have a bunch of things to say, but not really. other than obviously, if you haven't already, go check out the documentary. Ryan put a lot of months into that. So if you're a follower on YouTube or subscriber on YouTube, I should say, go check that out. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube yet, feel free to go do that. It is free to do as long as you have a YouTube account. So make sure to hit that red subscribe button and go give it a watch.
We have some shout outs to do for our sponsors as well. Sponsors help keep operational costs of MSC rocking and rolling here. So if you do need some of these guys' work on your homes or your businesses, feel free to give them a call. So StormGuard Roofing and Construction, based out of Oakland, Macomb counties. They do roofing and construction needs for your homes. 248-985-3239 is the number to call. Lifestyle Exteriors out of Lansing and Traverse City areas. 989-854-3055. They also do exterior work on your homes. Got Pro Powder out of South Haven for all your powder coating needs. 269-637-8722. And last but not least, we have Katz Roofing and Siding based out of the Lansing, Powderville areas. 517-485-9886 is your number to call there. And again, roofing, siding, window gutter needs in the Lansing area. Thank you to these businesses for supporting us. And also, if you would like to become a sponsor as well here at MSC, you do have an option to contact us and talk about it. So feel free to do that. We are always looking and open to partnerships and sponsorships in the future. Kendall with a $10 super chat asking, are we expecting a lot of freezing rain on Saturday? Kendall, unfortunately, I can't get you specifics on that system. In terms of what it's looking like right now, though, if the models are correct, taking that verbatim right now, the freezing rain doesn't look to be impactful, but I say impactful for like major impacts like power outages and, tree damage, stuff like that. Right now, it's looking like a glaze, perhaps similar to this system at most. And we'll track that. We have a couple of days to sort it all out. It's just coming down to where it's going to track exactly. We can't get specific with that. It could very well shift out of the state too. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, and we'll bring you updates on the page. So stay tuned to that. And also daily videos here on YouTube. We'll go through and walk you guys through everything to expect. All right. With that being said, I think we are going to be good to pop out of here. Joel, you good?
Mm-hmm. Thanks again, Kendall.
All right. We will see you guys later here at Michigan Storm Chasers. Thank you so much for watching.